How's it going everyone? Spenny here, back with another video. Today, I'm going to be showing you guys all of the NFC cards that I have with me. My NFC card collection has kind of slowly been going down, and that's because recently I've got some figures that I needed. And when I get the figure, I no longer need the card. Although I am here at college, so technically I could use a card for every single figure. I don't play the game all that much, and I only make the cards or use them when I'm streaming or creating content. So there's really nothing that I need all of them for, which is why I only have a small collection. But I feel like a lot of you may want to know which cards I actually have with me, which figures I have programmed on my cards, and that's what we're going to be going over today. Can't wait to show you guys all the figures that I have in my collection that are on NFC cards. So, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so starting off, we actually don't have any Skylanders from SSA, the first game. And I actually don't really need any. I do have a Cinder that is physical, and I've had that with me since I got here, so that's good enough for me, and there is a few others that will work in SSA if I want to play it. So let's get into the first character. First we have Royal Double Trouble. This is honestly one of my favorite looking variants and one of my favorite figures from SSA. Double Trouble is super overpowered, and I know that his Series 2 is definitely way better than the Series 1, just because of the Wow Pow and how the beam splits into multiple paths to take on multiple enemies at once. Because with the SSA Double Trouble, he can only attack one enemy at a time with his primary move. It's not the best if you're taking on giant hordes of enemies, but if it's one boss and he has a lot of health, this thing can take it down really quickly. So that's exactly why he is here with me, and for the other reason is because I don't have that variant. Many of these NFC cards that I have are going to be variants just because they look cool and I don't have them yet physically. I know I already do have Double Trouble normally, but I mean, if I'm going to put something on a card, it might as well be something that I don't have. Now, this is a cool one, and honestly, some of you may not know what this actually is. This is VV Windup, otherwise known as Vicarious Visions Windup. Now this is a Skylander that is extremely overpowered. Out of all the games and figures, I'm pretty sure this VV Windup has the most health, does the most damage, it basically never dies, so this is exactly why I have it with me. I can do solo runs pretty much with VV Windup because he's just so good. If I need to get gameplay or do a playthrough and I don't want to die all that much, he is the perfect figure for me to use. Now we have one that I just recently got. This is Punk Shock. If you were watching a previous video that I recorded that showed you my pickups, I actually did get Punk Shock finally, physically, and I'm very excited because this figure is honestly amazing. I would say Punk Shock is kinda underrated. I never hear people talking about Punk Shock, but ever since I started using her, she has been a powerhouse. I definitely recommend you using Punk Shock if you've never tried her out, because I think you guys will really like her. She plays like Whirlwind, but better. I know that doesn't say much because a lot of you may not like Whirlwind, but just take my word and try Punk Shock. Now we have another that I still have yet to find physically. This is Scratch. Scratch I haven't used all that much, honestly. I do know apparently some moves actually generate gold and coins, which is kind of unique. Scratch is just a figure where it's very expensive, and I don't really want it all that much, at least right now. I'm not trying to pay that much for a figure that I can just get later on. There's no rush, honestly, and Scratch seems kinda just average, so maybe I'll pick her up in the future, but as of right now, I'm totally fine with having her on an NFC card. Now we have another that I actually just recently picked up. This is Rocky Roll. Rocky Roll is one figure that I haven't maxed out, but I have tried using him. He is definitely a very unique Skylander. and kind of weird to get used to. He's basically walking on a ball that can also shoot out projectiles, which is kind of cool, but he doesn't do all that much damage, which is kind of why I don't like him as much as I thought I would. Hopefully I can try using him more, but I'm really hoping that his upgrade paths and upgrades in general make him a little bit better, because as of right now, I'm not really liking him all that much. Now we have one that is extremely rare and hard to find. I really want it because I've used this NFC card and it's definitely one of my favorite figures. This is Echo. Echo is one of those figures that looks awesome, plays awesome, overall a amazing figure. I just don't like how much money Echo costs. I haven't recently looked. I usually do check Skylanders that I'm missing, just check on the pricing, see if it's going up, going down. And Echo is one that I haven't checked in a while, but the last time I checked, it was going for the same price as kind of like a Blackout or a Spotlight, which is not the best. Those figures are anywhere from like $70 to $100, and I'm not trying to pay that much, at least yet. Now we have one of my favorites, and this is unfortunate because of the price associated with it. This one is Breeze. Breeze I have used in my minis lock, and I'm honestly a big fan. I know it's basically just a smaller version of Whirlwind, and definitely less annoying than Whirlwind, but it's one of my favorite Skylanders. I love the moves. If I'm being honest, why I like the Skylander so much is because of how satisfying the attack with the clouds is. When using the cloud move, you actually create an electric beam between them, and this is like a huge force field that enemies can get either trapped in or walk into, and it does a ton of damage. That is literally why I love Breeze so much. Now we have one that I haven't used all that much. This is Batspin. Batspin is cool looking. Batspin honestly isn't that bad. I just don't have very much experience using her. I definitely would say that Batspin is 10 times better than Rocky Roll, and I honestly probably should try her out a little bit more. I don't even know what the upgrade paths or anything like that is for the figure. I think it's only like level 5 and none of the upgrades are gotten yet, so I'm definitely going to have to get on that and keep you guys updated on what I think of Batspin. Now we have Blackout. This is the only other light or dark element figure from Trap Team that I don't have already. We already have Spotlight, Nightlight, Nightmare, and now we only need Blackout. This one is another expensive figure. Honestly, all the figures that I'm missing physically now at this point are all really pricey, and it's kind of unfortunate because it's slowed down my collecting quite a bit since I started. When I started, I didn't even have all of the figures from the first 2 games, which are unbelievably cheap to find. And now that I've kind of worked my way all the way out to the last 3 games, they are really expensive figures, and they are definitely a lot harder to find. We now have the last Trapmaster that I need to find, and this is Enigma. This is, from what I've heard, the most expensive Trapmaster, but I don't think it's the best Trapmaster. Personally, I used Gear Shift for the first time a few weeks ago, and I absolutely love it. Gear Shift is one of the best figures in all of Trap Team, and I definitely want to get Gear Shift upgraded because I've been having such a good experience, and it might actually enter into my top 5 or top 3 favorite Skylanders of all time. We'll just have to see about that. And perfect segue into the next one, which is Gear Shift. I already mentioned that I did pick up Gear Shift, so I won't actually need to have this NFC card, but it's nice that I don't have to bring Gear Shift with me in order to use it. These cards are just so convenient when I can't bring all my Skylander collection on the go 24/7. This is honestly perfect and exactly why I use NFC cards. Now we have Shortcut, another Skylander that I recently picked up, although I'm not really a fan of him. He doesn't seem all that good, and yes, he's not upgraded whatsoever, but I feel like once he's upgraded, he's still not going to be all that good. I'm definitely going to have to keep trying him out, but for now, he's also another one that I'm not really a fan of. Okay, now we're working into superchargers, and this is exciting. We have Thrillipede. So Thrillipede, the normal version at least, is extremely expensive. I do have the Easter version of Thrillipede, but I mean, if I want all of them, why not put the normal one on an NFC card? That way I can use both of them. Thrillipede is honestly not that bad of a supercharger. I wouldn't say he's worth the price tag, but he definitely is better than a lot of other Skylanders that are way overpriced, especially for what you get out of them. When comparing him to some Imaginator figures that are crazy overpriced, he is kind of more worth the money as opposed to some of the other ones we're going to be talking about. Now we have Double Dare Trigger Happy. I don't have either version of him. I don't have this one, and I don't have the blue Trigger Happy. He is a great figure. This is another one that I've grown to love. I don't really use Supercharger figures all that much because I never really liked to play the game, even after I purchased it for the first time. But he's a really good figure, and if I'm being honest, I use most of these Supercharger figures in Imaginators because I do like the game a little bit more. I'm just not a fan of the racing sections that make me get in a vehicle, and you can't even really use the figure. The figures are just for show at that point when you're in a vehicle because you can't see them. And now for the last Supercharger figure, we do have Power Blue Splat. And this, I actually do have Splat as a normal version. This is the variant, and technically I guess I do have both now. What I tried to do when getting my NFC cards printed is I wanted to try and put the more rare and hard to find figures on the NFC cards. So say I was looking for Trigger Happy, I would look, is the Power Blue Trigger Happy more expensive or is the normal one more expensive? So in my case, I put the one that was more expensive on an NFC card because I would be less likely to find it. And I still haven't found either of them, so I guess it wasn't really a good example. But I guess for Splat, I have found the normal version of Splat, and I still have yet to find a Power Blue version of Splat physically. So now, working into Imaginators, we have the most overpriced Skylander of all time. We have Robo. Robo, honestly, I don't think he's worth all the hype. I have tried to use him a lot, and he's just not that good. At least he's not good if you're using his main attack, which is the bow. The bow is very, very underwhelming, doesn't do a lot of damage. If you use the dash and roll, it is a lot better than the bow and arrow, so I do recommend that if you're going to use him at all. Now we have a figure that I think is a little more worth the price tag, but still really pricey. That is Wildstorm. Wildstorm, I'm honestly really trying to get him a lot more than I'm trying to get Robo. Robo, I really don't like Robo, but Wildstorm I really do, and I definitely see why he's worth the price tag. I know it has nothing to do with how good the figure is, and it more so has to do with the amount of the figure available due to the production, but Wildstorm is just really good, and I have loved every minute of trying him out from level 1 all the way to level 20. Now we have our last few here. We do have Bad Juju, and this is another one that I actually was correct in making the right one on an NFC card, because I do have the mystical Bad Juju physically, and I don't actually have the normal one yet. And next we do have Wolfgang. Wolfgang I did pick up recently. This one, unfortunately, I did make the wrong kind because I don't have the Dark Wolfgang yet. I actually do have the normal one physically, and I also have an NFC card of it as well. And last but not least, we have Chompy Mage. I would say this is the third most expensive Skylander in Skylanders Imaginators. I wouldn't say he's really worth it. He's good, but he's not as good as Wildstorm. I still really need it, and actually, at the time you're watching this video, I am only missing 3 Skylanders for Skylanders Imaginators. I just don't know how long it'll take me to find all of them. Those 3, if you were paying attention, are Robo, Wildstorm, and Chompy Mage. I don't care about variants, so if I find one of the Chompy Mages, I'll be happy, but those are just the 3 that I'm missing, and I'm honestly very close to completing that collection. One last thing I feel like I do need to talk about, because I get asked this all the time, is how do you make these NFC cards? Surprisingly, people aren't actually interested in how to put the files on the cards, but more so how to make them look like this. So I'm going to be showing you real quick. So basically, you do want to buy these cards. I do have them all linked in my Discord server, the ones that have been verified to work, as well as the reader you will need, but that's the first thing. You do need these cards. The next thing, I also have these in my Discord server, and it is the template that you're going to use. So all these pictures are actually in my Discord server. All you have to do is find the right size that fits on the card that you have, and you're going to want to print it out. And the final step for me, at least, is I have a laminator. A laminator basically is 2 pieces of tape that go over top of it, and it basically covers it from both sides. That's why you see that it is kind of over the edge here. That's basically just the pieces of tape touching each other, and that's what holds it together. For you guys, you probably don't have a laminator at home. I would recommend getting tape and just doing exactly how I described it. Put 1 piece of tape on the bottom, put 1 on the top, and basically make a sandwich, and all this will stay perfectly intact, and it'll be waterproof and everything. So that's exactly how you do it. I hope I did answer a few questions here, because I've been getting that question a lot. But yes, that's how you make these NFC cards. And that's going to do it for the video. I hope you guys did enjoy looking at all of my NFC cards in my collection. There's honestly not that much anymore because my collection has been growing so fast, but we're almost done. I don't know how long it'll actually take me, because some of these are crazy expensive and I don't see myself purchasing them anytime in the near future. But that's everything I have right now, and I hope you guys did enjoy. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. And a huge thanks goes out to all of my Patreon members and supporters. If you want to know more about how to become a Patreon member and a member of the channel, all that information will be linked down in the description of the video.